So barely too big to hide behind my hand, we've got the little BBR 3.1 inch double stack 1911 from Rock Island. This reminds me a lot of the old Para Ordnance Warthog guns. I have not fired this at all yet. We're looking at fresh out of the box because, well, some of these edges might be a little sharp, and I do 2 fingers and a nothing. So I thought the first shots might be something you might be entertained by watching to see how this goes. We'll start things off as always with full mag +1, using this time some Armscore hollow points. Armscore was nice enough to send us some of these 230 grain hollow points with all of the lore of 1911s not liking hollow points. Of course, that's been resolved for a couple decades now, but anyways, I thought it was nice of them to send those. Steel's about 15-20 yards out there. I'm going to be doing aim shots to try to hit that, but interested to see if this aggressive stippling is going to keep this gun in my hand or not, and how much it hurts. We've got 10 rounds, 1 full magazine, and our +1. Drop that guy in there, safety on, empty mag out, full mag in. Of course, full mag +1 usually have to smack, so that's not abnormal. Let's see how it runs. Woo, it does pop up. Oh, didn't feed that time. Had another issue. Interesting. I wonder if I'm limp wristing, since it's a little difficult for me to put good support on the gun this short. Flinch monster is trying to get me. No, we've got dead trigger because my hand has come off the grip safety. There we go. That is a spicy meatball, folks. It definitely does some digging. Tell you what, before we continue on into the what's for dinner, I'm gonna put some more rounds through this and get used to it. But I just thought you might be curious to see first shots out of the box and what happens with no break-in period yet, no warm-up. I'm not accustomed to the gun yet, and it is indeed a different experience to shoot. It's still fun. All right, we'll do some more shooting and then come back in with the what's for dinner. I hope y'all are hungry. We've got the TV dinner tray set up for what's for dinner. This time we've got 6 specialty loads and 4 full metal jackets. As you can see, starting off as light as 118 grain, very, very light. We got a 185, another 185, 200 grain semi Wad-Cutter, that's an odd shaped guy. Some 230, 230, and then coming around to our full metal jacket, we've got some from Gecko, we've got the Winchester service grade, we've got Fiocchi, and some tool ammo steel case. So we're gonna fire 3 shots of each load. We're looking to see if it picks up from the magazine, if it generates enough energy to cycle and feed reliably, a bonus shot, and to see if it locks open after the 3rd round. Each of these loads has a different powder burn rate. It's going to have a different recoil impulse, and as you can see, they obviously have different shaped projectiles. All right, first, let's get in what's for dinner. The ARX Inceptor load. This is 118 grains. That is very lightweight. It's only slightly heavier than your basic 9mm load, and they're claiming a 1,350 feet per second. Now that, of course, is likely a 5-inch barrel, not a 3.1 inch. So with not a lot of mass in there and not a lot of time to build pressure, is it going to cycle this gun? That's what we'll find out on target number 1. I found I have to get my hand really on that grip safety to keep it from stopping me. Holy fireballs. I hope that came across on the camera for you. Cycled just fine. Ended up hitting a couple inches low. Next, we have why pencils don't come with erasers anymore. Little red piece in there. No, that's polymer. It's not an eraser. Don't believe that. Anyways, Hornet Critical Defense. This is a 185 grain, muzzle velocity of 1,000 feet per second. Once again, keep in mind that those stated velocities are from a longer barrel, more than 50% longer than this guy. For target number 2, hopefully I don't stray into my misses from target number 1. Got the same pattern. First shot was that one that's the highest of the 3, and then 2 following it below. Might be a little bit of flinch monster kicking in. I don't normally shoot guns like this. SIG Elite Performance Ammunition. 185 grain V-Crown. They're clocking 995 feet per second. So 5 feet per second slower than the Critical Defense at the same weight. This has a much more rounded profile, and of course a big empty cavity. Flying ashtrays, as they like to refer to these large hollow points, for target number 3. And once again, hitting a little low. You know, these are adjustable sights on this gun. If it were long-term testing, I think I would adjust them. Moving on up to 200 grain, semi Wad-Cutters from Black Hills. This is kind of a old school way of making something hurt. Solid lead projectile, no jacket, in kind of a funky shape as you saw in the close-up. Target number 4. I'm gonna hold the same point of aim and see if we continue to hit low like that. So note on what just happened there. I tend to shoot 1911s by resting my thumb on the thumb safety. With this particular gun, if I do that, it creates too much gap back here on my hand, and I end up not depressing the grip safety. So I found I have to deliberately put my thumb below the safety. Now on to target number 4. Smoky. Nice big nasty holes in the paper there from the semi Wad-Cutters. Finally up into the 230 grain realm, the normal natural John Moses Browning weight for a 45 ACP round. We've got Winchester Defender. These are a little more closed on the front end of a hollow point, which should mean less reliability issues if you do have a gun that's picky about hollow points in 45. Of course, each caliber of each load is going to be a little different, so check that stuff before you go judging something based on the experience of another caliber. Anyways, target number 5, here we go. Keep my thumb underneath the safety. These have much stouter recoil. Another 230 grain. This is the Arms Core hollow point stuff. It's not so flying ashtray-esque in the shape of the projectile, which should lend to reliable feeding. Who said for target number 6. Had a feed issue there. Now I might have limp wristed. I actually felt the slide bounce a little bit. Best grouping so far. These also have some pretty stout recoil relatively. If you're wondering about the limp wristing, it's not normally a problem for me, but I can't get a whole lot of hand on this gun. Target number 7, 230 grain full metal jacket. We're now in the FMJs. Tool ammo. This is a steel cased load, which steel doesn't expand or contract as well as brass. So sometimes you have issues with extraction. It can also, in theory, be harder on extractors, especially an internal extractor like you've got on this gun, where it can't flex out as much as say an external extractor. Target number 7. That was very smooth. Softest recoil. Looks like I had a shot drift into number 8. Not having the best range day today, guys. And if you're wondering why I'm not having the greatest range day, I'm missing my hat. The hat, the one that everyone mocks, is the source of my power. Moving on in our full metal jacket, we've got brass case Fiocchi, 230 grain. For target number 8, keep in mind there was already one hole on there. Mash that one down, and that one too. Next in full metal jacket, the Winchester service grade ball M1911, 230 grain. And before any of you fall for anything about mil spec or military grade being a positive thing, as someone who spent 15 years in the military, I can tell you it's actually the stuff that's cheapest that they can get the most of. That's what's military grade. So let's see how it shoots. Target number 9. Spicy. But consistent. And for number 10, we've got another 230 grain load. This is from Gecko, loaded by Brueg Ammotech in Germany. 45 is not exactly a German cartridge, but they do have great attention to detail in manufacturing over there. Let's see how the ammunition does. Target number 10. I pulled that last one. So it looks like overall we've got perfect reliability. When the question comes up as to what's for dinner for the BBR 3.1, it ate everything we had without issue. I will say, and I can feel it in my palm, this heel here is cutting in, making it difficult for me to push, and that's causing me to limp wrist a little bit. Just gonna have to adjust shooting style or find some smaller hands. I think the easiest thing for me to do would be to adjust my shooting style. So for 5 shots from 7 yards, we're gonna use those 230 grain hollow points from Arms Corps. A little nervous about this. This gun has been a challenge for my larger hands. Let's see how it goes. This might be more than 7 yards. It's been a while, as I'm sure those of you who watch the channel regularly have noticed. This might be closer to 10, but let's just say 7. A piece of brass hit me right in the eyeball. That's why we wear eye protection. Having some feeding issues. Might be from the limp wrist issue. Wow. Before we accept those, I'm going to take a break and let this hot spot on my hand cool off where the heel of the gun's been digging in. Not necessarily a fault of the gun, it's a fault of the compatibility between this gun and my hand. So it's gotten a little red and a little irritated between the warm-up rounds and the what's for dinner and all that. We'll let that cool and then try the 5 shots at 7 yards again. But since we show you everything and we keep it real, wanted you to see that these things happen. And in a moment here, we'll do it again. So, taking a break, also paced out a little bit of the target. Got to admit, guys, it's been a while since we've done this. We were not shooting 7 yards, we were shooting 9 for all those. So, I guess in theory you could take all those groups and shrink them up a little. But we moved the target, now we're at 7 yards. Also going to use the Gecko ammo from Rueg on the right square circle. Went with the Gecko because it was a little smoother shooting, and my hand's a little raw. That's much better. Much, much better. So, reflections on shooting the BBR 3.10. Start things off, this heel and my hand shape and size, it just hurts a bit. Like I said earlier, gonna have to learn a different shooting style if I wanted to be really proficient with this. But aside from that, one other major change with the hand. So hopefully you can see I'm resting my thumb over the top of the safety. That's a very traditional way to shoot a 1911, as I've been told, and it's how I've shot most 1911s. But when I do, this gap opens up right in here that prevents me from putting the proper pressure on the grip safety. As soon as I bring my thumb down, the web of my hand gets on that grip safety and deactivates it so I can fire. So if you have an issue with a gun like this, or a hand to pistol relative mismatch, you could say, got to take things like that into consideration, because first time it happened to me, I'm pulling, waiting for that shot and nothing was happening, and it was purely from my hand being in the wrong spot. But that said, ran just about everything. We did have some failures to feed happen, whether that was the ammunition, which I highly doubt since it's arms core ammunition and an arms core gun, or me limp wristing because my grip is off for this gun. That's probably what did it. I wouldn't blame the gun, wouldn't blame the ammo. Fiber optic front sight was good. Sight is adjustable, which we could say is good. I did hit low on everything, including once we moved the target a little bit closer and figured out where we're aiming. That was probably me anticipating, just because, like I said, the heel of this gun was hurting my hand, so I might have been anticipating and jerking a little bit. Nobody's perfect, and I don't have my power hat on. But other than that, a fun gun. When Para Ordnance had the Warthog, I believe it was called, I always wanted one. And then I went overseas for a while. I come back and people are like, Para Ordnance, who's that? Because they were gone, and so was this design. So good on Rock Island for bringing back the little chubby guy with a 10-round double stack 45. It only having a 3-inch barrel, you're not going to get a whole lot of velocity out of the rounds, so you have to choose your defensive ammunition wisely. Maybe do some gel testing, if you will. If Rock Island wants us to, maybe we'll hold on to this a little longer and take a look at that. But otherwise, a unique gun, certainly a conversation starter, and it certainly could also double as a hammer. It being all steel is heavy, so it's just a funky gun full of personality. Next, we have why erasers don't come with